Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our terror terrier mix, Sophie. Sophie's been eating things that she shouldn't be eating, and so she's a terror right now. I also have the door shut so that hopefully she will not whimper and whine. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, welcome. If you are looking for me on Ravelry, I am Cristi-Lael, and on Instagram, I'm Cristi-Lael without the dash. We also have a Relatively Crafty podcast group on Ravelry, and I want to thank those of you who have been posting in there recently. It warmed my heart to see that there are some people who are saying, "We're still here, Christy," and talking about things that they like about the podcast and things that they have been working on recently. I do really want to make the podcast be a thing again, but I'm just struggling to be active online right now, unless I can spend just a few moments taking a picture and putting a caption, or very quickly updating a project. I'm very rarely online. I spend all day on my computer at work, but I can't do anything socially, obviously, at work. And then when I get home, I'm not home long enough before I have to make dinner and then spend family time. And as much as I love you guys, and I do love each and every one of you, my family comes first. I'm sure you understand. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the knitting. I have a plethora of FOs to show you guys today. I have several whips as well, and I have lots of new yarn that I have acquired. So loads and loads to talk about. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, and these are not in the order in which I finished them. I don't remember the order in which I finished them. But first I have a pair of socks that I knit for my uncle. Here they are. They are knit out of Andromeda sock yarn in the Seeing Red colorway. I enjoy this colorway quite a lot. My uncle, I don't know, two and a half years ago, I think the first Christmas that they came here, it was our first Christmas here, we stopped off at a yarn shop. I don't remember if it was my local yarn shop or if it was one on our travels, but he picked up this, you know what, it was one in Castle Rock. And he picked this up asking if I would be willing to make him a pair of socks out of it. And of course I said yes. At the time I had all the time in the world to knit socks, and so I thought I'd be able to do it in a couple of months, but it ended up taking 2.5 years. But they're done now, right? At least I made them before either of us died. Because they are man socks, I made the leg quite a bit longer than I normally do. I did, I think, 20 rows of ribbing, which is more than what I normally do as well. And I did them top down, which again is not something that I normally do, because I wanted to make sure that these fit. I have only made, I think, 2 pairs of socks for my uncle in the entire decade plus that I've been knitting socks. And so I'm not as certain of the fit of his feet as I am with, say, my socks or my mom's socks or my husband's socks. So I wanted to make sure that he would be able to fit these on nicely, and with the heel flap and gusset, it does seem to give a little bit more, it's a little bit more forgiving for a variety of foot shapes and styles, whereas I prefer to knit socks toe up with an afterthought heel or a fish lips kiss heel. This does fit more feet better. So anyway, heel flap and gusset, and then I made it to fit his feet. Luckily, small feet run in my family. My uncle only wears a size 8 for men, which is a 10 for women, so that's not very big. But yeah, they are both done. I was going to knit them for his birthday, So they were supposed to go to him on May 1st, which is his birthday. His birthday is the day before mine. However, I did not get them finished in time, so I sent him something else for his birthday. And now I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to send them to him now, as just a, hey, you're swell present, or if I should save them for Christmas. Now, keep in mind when you offer your opinion on that query that I've just set, that my uncle lives in Southern California, so he will not have any opportunity to wear these until the weather turns colder, which won't happen until well into December in Southern California. So they will not be, like, it's not like if I send them to him now, he's going to get a great deal of use out of them. He won't be able to wear them before Christmas, really. So, yeah. But they are done, and at least I have that. Next, I finished my April Hippo for the Holidays hat. And here it is on Fred the Head. So, this is Lolo Did It in the Yeti Goes to the North Pole colorway. And true to all of the Hippo and Yeti colorways, I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect, and I want to keep it for myself. However, I will not. I am going to put them all together, and when it comes time to pass out gifts for my coworkers at Christmas, I will take the ones that I need for them that will match their personalities, and then the rest will go to my family. I will probably keep a hat, one of my favorites throughout for the entire year, but we'll see which one that is. But yes, this, as I said, is Yeti Goes to the North Pole. And I knit this the exact same way that I have knit the other ones. There are notes, project notes on my project page. All of these are called Hippo/Yeti hat, I think, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so the project notes for the worsted weight, which is what this is simply worsted. Lola Did It simply worsted. They're on, I think, Yeti hat number 2. But basically all I did was I cast on with a US 5, 96 stitches, did 2x2 ribbing until I did 40 rows, and then I folded it in half and knit it together, then increased 4 more stitches till I had 100 and went up to a size US 7, did I think 7 inches total, and then started my decreases, and it's a very basic decrease, knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 8, knit 2 together, and then the next round knit plain, and then after that knit 7, knit 2 together, and a plain round, and so on and so forth. So there is Hippo/Yeti hat number 4. I am doing well so far for this year. I'm enjoying making them. It doesn't take a long time to make them. It definitely takes less time than knitting a pair of socks. But it's more enjoyable right now because it's just something different. It's a nice little palette cleanser in between other projects. Okay, next I have another pair of socks. These were socks that were supposed to be for me, and I changed my mind midway through knitting them. On April 25th, I believe, we went as a family to go see Cats at the Denver Performing Arts Center. Cats is the musical, of course, by Andrew Lloyd Webber from the early 80s. I saw it when I was a junior in high school and loved it. Was very excited to see that it had come back, and wanted to share that experience with my husband and children, none of whom had seen it before. So it was a great experience. The girls loved it, Ron loved it, I loved it. But I knew that I was going to need a sock that I didn't have to think about to knit during the show. So I cast on I just grabbed something and cast on, toe up, and this is what I ended up casting on. This is Scandalous sock yarn. Unfortunately, I don't believe that she is dyeing yarn anymore. But this was her MZN base, and it was 2 matching skeins. I did not know how they were going to knit up. They looked like this in the skein. I just thought they were pretty, so I grabbed them. And I knit like the entire first foot during cats, and was kind of, well, I'm going to say I was kind of disappointed, and that is no shade on the dyer, because the dye job is beautiful. But what I had hoped was going to happen is that this orange and red stripes was going to be more in the middle of the sock, I guess. I kind of would have rathered it been here and had blue at the end, but I didn't know what it was going to be like, and so I just bought it and knit it. And so anyway, as I was working on it, I finished the first sock with the exception of the heel, and asked Delaney if she'd like it, and she said yes, so I went ahead and made the heels to fit her, and I think that she will love them. She is wearing hand knit socks every single day, and if I don't keep up on the sock laundry, then she asks to borrow some more of mine, which of course I don't have a problem lending to her, but I figure the more socks that I make for her, the less she'll borrow of mine. Of course, I could also say that if I washed them more often, then the less she'd borrow of mine too, but it's much more fun to knit the socks than it is to wash the socks, let's be honest. So anyway, I basically, it came in 2 50-gram skeins. I knew that I wasn't going to need 50-gram skeins for each of the socks, so I took off 25 grams. I think I left it so that I had like 25 grams of each, maybe 30 grams. I can't remember exactly, because I wanted to start with the blue top up, and I wanted to make sure that that I ended with the color. After I wound them, I saw how it was going to be, and I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure that they're not going to be too long. So I basically just knit the entirety of what I had left. And so I still have about, I don't know, 45 grams of blue sitting there. I used the blue for the heels, and then whatever I have left is sitting there. So I could actually probably make another full pair of socks out of the semi-solid blue. But anyway, yeah. So these I did toe up. I did them with a True Afterthought heel. I did 1x1 ribbing and Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and I just did the ribbing until I almost ran out. I had enough to do the bind off, and that was it. So there's that. I have another pair of socks that I have recently finished for Delaney, and these are a pair of summer shorty socks. Here we go. They are the Rose City Roller pattern by Marie Catherine Briner, I believe. If I've got that wrong, I'll put it down at the bottom. This is a fun, easy pattern that that I have enjoyed making several times, and it's nice because I've got it completely memorized. Absolutely love it. It's a top-down, very simple. I think it's actually a free pattern, but it's top-down. You don't do any ribbing. You just let it roll. You do a heel flap and gusset, and then a regular wedge toe. I knit these ones a little bit taller for Delaney, and this way she can still wear them in the interim season. They're not like no-show shorties, but they're more like a tennis sock length. And I knit these out of Hand Dyed by Kate in the Iris colorway, I believe. Hand Dyed by Kate is another dyer that is no longer dyeing, and so I don't think you can get her yarn anymore. But I did like the way she dyed. She was one of the first ones that was doing the sock sets, where they was a 50-gram main color, and then a 20-gram heel-toe cuff skein. And I like that because I don't need more than 70 grams for a pair of socks. And actually, this one was one of those sock sets, but instead of using the heel-toe skein, I just did the 50 grams for the sock and made them shorties. So I have a purple, that's this purple color 20-gram mini that I can use for heels and toes on a different pair of socks. So yeah, I just finished these the other day, and Delaney has been nipping at the bit trying to get to wear them, so I figured I should podcast soon so that she could finally wear them. She's very excited about them. That's all the socks that I have finished. I do have some that are whips, but we'll get into those later. I have 2 more finished objects. One I am super proud of, and unfortunately, I have to say that most of the time, when I finish a project, I set it aside until I podcast so that it looks pristine when you guys get to see it. However, with my Blue Sands cardigan, I could not wait. There was some nice weather with which to wear it. I don't know if you guys saw on my Instagram recently, but we got a little bit of snow just last week, and so I wanted to wear this sweater as much as I could before the weather turned truly warm. So here is an arm sleeve of my Blue Sands, and here is the back, and my pockets is striped pockets. Super fun. Yeah, it just looks like a hot mess right now, but here are some lovely pictures of me wearing it. I absolutely love how it fits. The shoulder shaping is perfect. I struggle with open cardigans that want to fall off my shoulders all the time. This does not happen with this cardigan. It sits very nicely. The only thing is that I made the sleeves just a hair too short. I was afraid they were going to be too long. One of the problems that I've run into with my my So Faded cardigan, Comfort Fade cardi, is that the way that that you deal with the fading made the sleeves just right when I was first wearing it, but now they seem to keep growing, and I've now gotten to the point where I'm rolling them up because they're just a little bit too long. So I didn't want to have that problem with this, so I stopped where I thought would be the right place, but I really should have gone like, I don't know, 2 or 3 more rows. They kind of sit like right there, which again isn't bad, but another 2 or 3 more rows would have been perfect. Other than that, I absolutely love it. I did not enjoy knitting it. I have to say I'm not a huge fan of knitting with this yarn. This is Wollmeise DK. Wollmeise is a fantastic dyer from Germany. She has, or they, I don't know the dyer personally. And I think at this point it must be a team of dyers, but they have the most amazing colors, and their solids and semi-solids are just phenomenal. They're great for color work, but it's several strands that are double plied, or 2-plied strands that are then plied together. Let me see if I can find a way to show you. Maybe you can see there. See, it's several plies together. I'm trying to get it to focus on that. Several plies together, and the problem with that is it makes it feel kind of cottony, which is not very fun. It can make it splitty, though I did not have a problem with splitting on this sweater. It also, I guess the biggest problem I had is that it's not fun to weave in the ends. So, so yeah, I still really enjoy this sweater, and I will wear it a lot. But I didn't enjoy, I think I would have enjoyed it more had I used a different yarn. So yeah, it only took, that's chocolate. When I was working on it, I had some dessert and I got chocolate on it. I haven't washed it off yet. So anyway, I have finally finished it. It took me over a year to knit this stupid sweater. Oh, I didn't talk about the pattern, did I? This is the Blue Sands cardigan by La Maison Rilili. And it's a fantastic pattern. It's a fantastic pattern. It really, really is. But it is a big sweater, and so it does take quite a lot of yarn and quite a lot of time to knit it. I could have knit it a lot faster than a year, but I got distracted by so many other things while I was working on the sweater. But it is finally done. It is very comfortable. I have worn it several times already. I very much enjoy it. My last FO is my scrappy cowl. Now, if you recall, this I was knitting out of out of the yarns that I had gotten from my Advent swaps this past December. Just kind of picked my favorites of the minis that I had gotten and some of the minis that I already had, and just kind of put them together. I was originally going to make the Land of Sweets cowl by Helen Stewart, but decided that I didn't want to have the lace, and so I just knit it stockinette. When I showed it to you last, I think I had about that much done. I now have the entirety done and all of the ends woven in, which took a long time. That was its own project. And I will say that it does not have 25 minis in there. I think I have 23. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yes, 23. Because when I got around 21, I was like, dude, this is getting so long, and I'm kind of done with it. So I just kind of picked 2 that I didn't want to put in there, didn't want to put in there as much as the others, and went ahead and finished it. And I posted some pictures of it on Fred on Instagram, but I did have some requests to show it in real life. So let me go ahead and put it on for you. Do this without messing up my hair or my glasses. Nope. So it's definitely warm and snuggly. And for those of you who wanted something that wasn't going to fall down, this is not going to fall down. This is like all the wool right here on my neck, and I can pull it up for when I really need to be warm. I know that a lot of the pictures show it a much looser, kind of hanging down here type of a cowl. I don't like that type of cowl, so I did not do much to block it. All I basically did was soak it so that, well, especially this one right here, which was knit out of a sock blank. I wanted those stitches to kind of loosen up and stop being kinked. I basically just soaked it and then laid it out flat and just let it dry. I did not pull it in any way. I just wanted it to kind of lay flat. So this is it, and it's snuggly. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted something to wear with my coat in the winter when the wind is blowing and it's snowing, and this is exactly it. It's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And I love when that happens, when you just get exactly what you were hoping to get. If you are really wanting to stay warm, you can pull it up like that and, you know, have a whole head covering. It's very versatile. You can fold it in half if you don't want any of the purling side to show ever. I don't know, there's just like a world of things that you could do with it. Dude, I could even turn it into a scarf. Look at that. Don't do that. That's just bad. Anyway, I'm in love with it. Yeah. The only thing, I loved trying out all the yarns. Some of these yarns are speckly. Some of these yarns have cashmere in them. Some of them don't. They were fun to try out all these small indie dyers. I did tell you last time that this is my favorite. Unfortunately, I have found out that that is not a skein that I'm going to be able to get my hands on anytime soon, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, I enjoyed knitting with it. Each of the minis were 10 grams, and I think I knit 12 rows out of each one, which left just a little bit left over, so I was using up enough to feel like I had used the minis. And, you know, every time I got to where I was like, well, I'm really kind of done knitting this color, it was time to move on to the next color. The only thing that I didn't enjoy was weaving in the ends. And I probably could have avoided some of that hassle if I had woven them in as I was going, instead of waiting until the end and doing them all at once. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed making this, and I know that I am going to enjoy wearing it. And since this one is primarily like yellows and greens and peaches, I could conceivably make another one in a different color palette later on. Yeah, I could do that. Okay, that is finally all of the FOs. Now, whips. Let's see what I got. Well, I guess I don't have as many whips as I thought I did. I only have three. I thought I had more. I might be forgetting one. Oh well. Talk about it next time. So, since I finished my Blue Sands cardigan, I was able to finally pick back up my Scrappy Hippo pullover. And so I have been working on this, although not a whole lot, but I've probably added maybe 2 inches to the bottom. I took it to Knit Night last week and worked on it. The bottom is, it's almost to my pant line. So I need to go another couple of inches. Well, I guess maybe, yeah, maybe it's just past my belt line. Another couple of inches, and then do the ribbing, and then the sleeves, and then I'll be done. Of course, I still have to weave in all of the ends. I should really learn my lesson and do this as I'm going along. But yeah, I still have plenty of yarn left over. This, if you are new to the podcast, last year and the year before, I knit 12 different pairs of hippos for the holidays with, golly, I keep dropping them, hippo for the holiday socks for Lolo did its knit-along. And I only used, because I used a little Lolo as contrasting heels and toes on every single pair. So I basically only used a half a skein. And so I'm sitting here with like 22, I think 22, 24, somewhere around there. Not a full 24, because there was, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is I had a lot of leftover half skeins or mostles, partials of Hippo for the Holidays in Lolo Did It. And so I decided to put them together, hold them double to make a DK weight yarn because they're all fingering, and just do a plain, comfy pullover. So that is what I am doing. And I'm just kind of mixing them all together. This is not something to wear fashion-wise. This is just something to be comfortable in. And I know that I'm going to be very comfortable in it come this coming winter. So I'm looking forward to having it finished by then. So yeah, that is that. Hopefully the next time I podcast, I will at least have the body done. Yeah, and then my other 2 whips are socks. And they're both socks for me. I know. At the end of 2018, I said I'm not going to knit any socks for myself for a while. I probably won't even knit socks for myself for the next year. But, who are we kidding? Part of the reason why I like knitting socks is because I like knitting socks for me, because it's fun to knit them for me. So, yeah. Plus, as I mentioned in my last podcast, I have a need for some more Rose City rollers for myself. So I have been doing that, working towards that goal. And using some Leading Men Fiber Arts for that. They do 50-gram skeins in variegated yarns, which I love. A lot of dyers, or I should say not many dyers, do it with 50-gram skeins of variegated yarns. You can find 50-gram skeins of solids or semi-solids, but the guys at Leading Men Fiber Arts do variegated yarns, which is lovely, and it doesn't hurt that their colorways are phenomenal. This is the first sock. You can see all of my little measuring light bulb stitch markers. This is in their Intermission, which is their 50-gram base. It's a merino blend, and the colorway is called Longstocking, and I am so in love with it. I don't know if the camera is picking up how awesome this colorway is, but it is totally awesome. Here it is in the skein. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So, as you can see, the first sock is done. I like my Rose City rollers to be almost no show, so they just sit right underneath my ankle bones, and this is perfect. The second sock is cast on, but there isn't much to it, just about 5 rows. But yeah, such a fun little pattern. And I'm knitting them all top down, as I mentioned before. One of the problems that I have run into with the ones that I decided to put my own spin on and knit toe up last year with a regular Fish Lips Kiss Heel, end up slipping down my shoes. And I know a lot of people talked about how I could put a little pom-pom on the back, and that would keep them from slipping down. I also know that if I knit the leg a little bit higher, that I probably would avoid that as well, but I'd rather just keep knitting more socks. I have plenty of yarn, so yeah, I wear the ones that slip down when I wear my Birkenstocks, which I wear often enough, so they're still getting use, and I'm just making myself some more. And then last night, we had some plans with some friends, but they ended up having to cancel, and so we were stuck. We weren't stuck. We found ourselves with a Saturday evening with nothing to do and already geared up to kind of leave the house. So we decided to go see a movie. And we ended up seeing Captain Marvel because we are behind and needed to see Captain Marvel before we could see Endgame. So we decided at 4 o'clock that we would go see a 4:55 showing of Captain Marvel. We were all ready for it, except I did not have a sock that I could work on. My Rose City rollers that I'm working on with the Longstocking colorway, I had the second one cast on, But there's only 20 or so rows before I have to do a heel flap, and I can't do a heel flap in the movies. So I had to run up here, find yarn that was already wound, and cast on a tow. I made Ron drive us to the movie theater. I am normally the one that drives us places, but I made him drive us to the movie theater, so I had enough time to cast on the tow and get the tow done before the movie started. And I was working on the last increase row when the credits, or when, not the credits, but the previews finished. So I just got in time. And so last night I cast on and started another sock. And yeah, this is where the heel will go. I basically just knit these in stockinette, round and round and round. This is a gradient, as you can tell. This is Knit Circus in the Mermaid Lagoon colorway. They come already caked up like this. There were 2 of them. And here is Knit Circus yarns. You can get them in a couple of different sizes, apparently. I didn't realize that when I first saw them. So I guess the prices would vary. So I got the medium set. I think I got these at my yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial. I think they only had the medium size, but the medium size was plenty for me. I don't like to have a lot of leftover unless there's enough left over to make something else. And as you can see, there won't be much left over, if any, really. So yeah, so 150 yards per one of these cakes, and that's fine. So basically, what I'm going to do, because this is a little bit on the thicker side, which is one of the reasons why it knit up so fast. Those of you who are sitting there going, you just started that yesterday? Yes, but as I said, it's a little bit on the heavier fingering side, so it's knitting up faster. And I get more knit in the movies when I'm not looking, like when I'm not focusing on it. I don't know why. But what I'm going to do in just a little bit, actually, is I am going to take another set of needles and I'm going to do the afterthought heel right now. Or not right now, obviously, because I'm recording, but right at this point in the sock, I'm going to put the stitches on the needles and do the afterthought heel. And I'm going to do it using this dark blue on the outside. And that way, I'll get all the yarn that I need for the heel out of this half skein, and then we'll be able to finish the rest of the sock using what's ever left. Does that make sense? So yeah, so then I will end up using the entirety of the skein, which is nice. So yeah, I had no plans before at like, you know, 3:55 yesterday. I had no plans to use this yarn anytime soon, but I am enjoying it. The only thing, I'm a little disappointed in the amount of gradation. It gradiates really well between these 2 colorways, but there's kind of a line. And I get it. I don't know how to dye yarn, so this could be a very difficult process. This could be an amazing turnout of this process. I have no idea. I do wish I had a little bit more gradation. It doesn't stop me from buying gradiated yarns. And I have nothing bad to say about Knit Circus. But yeah, so if I were to change something, that's what I would change. Okay, that is all that I have on the needles. How about some yarn haul? You guys keen on that? Wait, actually, before I get into yarn haul, let me talk real quick, because I know some people don't enjoy the yarn haul, but I don't want people to miss out on this next opportunity. I mentioned in my last podcast that if I made 3,000 subscribers, that I would have a giveaway. And wonderfully, I've made 3,000 subscribers, so I would like to have a giveaway. And I'm going to give away several things. First off, I'm going to give away this skein of Hue Loco. This is her spun sock base, which is an 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon. The colorway is Petal Pop, and this is something that I purchased for the giveaway. So it's a very beautiful, like mauve, however you want to say that word. I also would like to include this shawl that I knit last year. This has never been worn. I knit it and I blocked it and I reviewed the yarn, and then it's just been kind of sitting up here in my library / yarn room since then. The pattern is called Piece of Cake by Delicious Yarns. It is a pattern that they wrote for this pairing that they were doing. So the green is their Frosty Sport Weight in Pistachio, and then the blue is their Speckled Sport. I want to make sure I wasn't showing you the wrong side. The blue is the Speckled Sport in Blueberry Mint, and it's lovely. Very lovely shawl, but I just haven't had any opportunity to wear it, and I thought, maybe somebody would like to win it and wear it themselves. So yes, you will get the shawl and the skein of yarn and other goodies from my goodie basket. I've got some needles and some stuff like that, little stitch markers and stuff that I've just kind of collected. And then lastly, I've been asked to do a review of Knit Companion, which is an app. And I'm super impressed with this app. It goes beyond, above and beyond what you would expect. I have an Apple phone, and I have it on my phone. I know that it works really well with the iOS. I think that the Android system the app is slightly different for that, but I'm not entirely sure how. But here it is, Knit More, Frog Less. It works with any pattern. You can upload the PDF. I'm using it with the Fireweeds socks that are colorwork socks that need that have a chart, and as you can see here, it helps you keep track of your chart. There's a line that moves up as the chart goes on. You can, move it forward as you're working on, which I like a lot. And what I like especially is that it's linked to your Ravelry account. So I'm logged in as Cristi-Lael on my Knit Companion app on my phone, and when I purchase a pattern, I can download it to my phone through the Knit Companion app and then see the whole thing right there on the app, and it keeps track and whatnot. And you can add notes and all kinds of things. It's just very, very handy. It's got row and stitch markers, reminders and counters. They've got a key, there's timers and notes. I mean, everything that you could need. And I guess it's a full app for Android as well. So they sent me, they sent me a finite subscription, if that makes sense. So I don't have it forever, but I have it to try out, and I've been trying it out, and I'm liking it. And then they also sent one of these curve stands, which you use for your device to hold it up. You put your phone, or here you can see with the picture, put your phone or your tablet right in there, and it holds it up. So when you're knitting along, you can keep track. And yeah, so it kind of stands up like that. It's clever. And they sent me two, so I have one to share with you guys. So that will go in with the prize package. And I highly encourage you to check out Knit Companion, especially if you like to knit using PDFs that you don't print out. I have to be honest, I tend to print out pages because I'm a hash marker, but I can see where the Knit Companion app could be very helpful. And really, I should probably get out of the habit of being a hash marker, because I am kind of wasting paper, because I only print them out once, but I only use them once. Once I've knit the pattern, I get rid of them. I don't often keep them. So if I want to knit the pattern again, I have to reprint out the pattern. So yeah, there you go. Knit Companion. You can get it Google Play, Amazon Apps, or, I'm sorry, the Apple App Store or Amazon. So, yeah. One thing that I like that they said, and there'll be a link down below for this, but you pay for a year subscription, and then it does not automatically renew, so you don't have to worry about forgetting about something. Forgetting about it and then finding out, not using it for 6 months and then going, oh crap, where did this money come out of my bank for? Finding out that it was the app re-upping. It doesn't do that. You have to give it permission, which I like, because there is very often that I have forgotten and I'm like, oh man, that was $50. Knit Companion doesn't cost $50, by the way, but other things that I have forgotten about have cost $50. And I'm like, crap. Now I have to wait another year because I already paid for it. So I will, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to have the giveaway in the comments down below. So leave a comment, any kind of comment. You could just say hi or pick me or whatever, whatever. Just leave a comment down below, and I will do a random number generator from those comments down below. And whoever wins will get those things. And it's open, worldwide. So, yeah. Just comment and you could win. Okay, so let's talk about sex, baby. Yarn haul. I have a decent amount of yarn to show you. Some of it I bought. Most of it I bought. Some of it I got as gifts. Some of it I earned. So let's talk about gifts. My uncle, for my birthday, sent me, the same uncle that is getting those red socks, sent me this skein from Lolo Did It. He has learned that he can just buy yarn and have it sent to my house, and that makes me happy. So this is LA Lady. It's beautiful, of course. And I will be very happy to knit that up soon enough for myself. I also got my April color of the month. Yeah, the Color Club from Vesper Sock Yarns. Knitterly Things Vesper Sock Knitterly Things is one of my favorite stripey dyers. And so this year I decided to do her Color of the Month club. Each month we get a striped skein that is one color theme, and then I opted to pay a little extra and get a matching heel-toe skein, or a coordinating heel-toe skein. April's color was purple, and yeah, it's beautiful. I've been very impressed so far. I love this. I'm glad that she picked this shade out of these stripes to do the heel-toe skein, and yeah. To say I don't like it as much as I like March's. March's was the green one and it was perfect, but it is probably my second favorite. January was red, February was blue, March was green, and April is purple. I can't wait to see what May is. I'm hoping, oh gosh, it would be perfect if May was orange, wouldn't it? Because orange is my favorite color and May is my birthday month. Oh, I could hope. I could hope. It won't come until the end of the month, so I won't know until later. And then Mustache Yarn, which is another fantastic stripey dyer, does a yearly, what is it, the DSF? The yarn festival that is in Dallas. I think it's Dallas. It's in Texas. They do a kind of a after the festival sale where whatever she didn't sell at the festival and whatever she has leftovers, and they do mill ends and imperfects and stuff like that, which I like a lot because I don't often need a full skein, so if I can find a partial skein for a good price, then I'm happy with that. So I got some of her mill ends. This is Autumn Afterglow. This is 38 grams, and I got this because I had some of this that I got last year, about the same amount. They're a different, because of the nature of hand dyeing, they are slightly different. I still think that I could probably get away with it, because I don't care if my socks match, so I'm probably going to use one of these to make one sock and then the other one to make the other sock. I got this is also a sport weight in Campfire, and I got this one thinking that I had a partial of this colorway as well. Come to find out I have a whole skein of this, so now I have a whole skein and an extra 38 grams. So I'll do something with it. That was Campfire, by the way. This one is 39 grams of The Last Jedi. And I think that these ones that are like 30, 40 grams, I can mix with a heel toe skein, heel toe solid, and make some shorty socks. This is 36 grams in Yo-Yo, a nice rainbow striper. And then I got this one, and this is in a sparkly. It's 42 grams, and it is Calaveras. So excited to knit those up. You might see those knit up sooner rather than later because I'm all about knitting shorty socks right now. Then lastly, this is enough to make a full pair of socks. This is Martian Rainbow, which if you watch, there's hair everywhere. If you watch Amy Florence of Stranded, if you watch her podcast, she just recently made a pair of socks out of this colorway, and they were amazing. So I'm excited about that. So this will be a full pair of full-size socks. Okay, and then lastly, you guys know that I recently did some knitting for Lauren at Lolo Did It. I knit her a Brunswick sweater and a shawl, and she paid me in yarn, in gift cards to her shop, which was what we had agreed on. It was what I was hoping for, because I could always use her yarn, right? So I decided to get a sweater's quantity in her simple worsted, which is a base that I've used for my hats and I've enjoyed. So I've got 5 skeins in Coal Miner's Daughter, which is a beautiful gray. This will be the main color for the sweater. And then I got a skein, and then I got a skein each in Sriracha, Blazing Sevens, which is the perfect orange, Sweetness, and Bumble. And I'm going to make the palette sweater. I will post a picture of it right there. So yeah, this will be my 4 colors for the palette, and the gray main color. I think it's going to be beautiful. And of course I want to cast it on right away, but I'm trying to remember that I have a hippo sweater that I need to finish, and there are other sweaters that I want to get knit this year. Yarns that I have had longer that need to be knit. Yeah. It's a downfall of how long it takes to knit things, because you just want to knit all the things, and you want to knit all the things right now, and you can't because it takes time. So that is all of the knitting content. I do have some books to talk about if you guys are interested in that. I have been having a really good run of books lately. I've been re-listening to some favorites from back in the day, which is something that I like being able to do. I read a book in 2015 and then listen to the audiobook this year and just kind of get more out of it. I like to reread physical books as well, but it's kind of nice to take the book in a different format. One of the books that I recently, it's a whole series that I recently listened to and absolutely loved. It's a middle grade series if you're interested in those. It is the Thickety series by J.A. White. This is the first book. It's called A Path Begins. And it's a magical, it's a magic book. It's a book about magic. And I just really, really enjoyed it. The main character is Kara, and when she is a young girl, her mother is killed for witchcraft, and Kara is tested and found not to be a witch, but it doesn't stop her from being mistreated throughout her youth, and as she gets a little older, she finds out some more interesting things about her mother and witchcraft and whether or not she has any abilities. It's definitely not set in today's, or in this world. It's its own universe, but I really, really enjoyed it. As I said, this is the first book, A Path Begins. I don't have all of them with me because my mom is borrowing them, but this is the second book, The Whispering Trees. The third book is called A Well of Witches, and the fourth book, which is the final one in the series, is called The Last Spell. I loved every one of them. I gave the first 3 books 4 stars, and I gave the fourth book 5 stars. I was just very, very involved in the story. And I have to say, I have to premise all of this with the fact that I have kind of fallen out of love with magical fantasy books, and especially series about magical fantasy. I've read so many of them, and so many of them just seem so similar, and I've just kind of gotten over it. But this really impressed me. It's one of those ones where it's written for a younger audience, but it is written in such a way that an audience of any age can really enjoy it. I could have read these to my daughters when they were younger, and they would have enjoyed them. They can read them now and enjoy them. I can read them in my 40s, enjoy them. My mom is reading them in her 60s, and she's enjoying them. It is a little darker than some of the magic books, but I feel like if your kids enjoyed the series by Chris Colfer, what was that called? The Land of Stories, then they would be able to appreciate the Thickety. So really, really enjoyed that. Another middle grade book that I am enjoying, I haven't finished reading, but I'm reading it to Delaney. For the longest time, I read to the girls each and every night. And we went through a lot of middle grade and children, middle grade, young YA books together. Unfortunately, in the past year or so, we have fallen out of that habit. Work has made things more difficult. And so I've kind of missed it. And the other day, Delaney came up to me and asked if we could read a book together. And so I asked her to pick one off the shelf. I have a whole bookcase that is almost entirely middle grade and young YA, and she picked this book, and I am loving this book. This is The Unlikely Adventures of Mabel Jones by Will Mabbitt, and it is a book that is written to engage a young reader. First of all, it has some truly awesome illustrations throughout. And you can see that it works to keep the reader engaged. It's great for a reluctant reader because there's all these different fonts, things, you know, just to kind of show emphasis and to get somebody involved. This is the chapter that we're getting ready to start, and there's just stuff in it. Like right before, she was falling overboard. I love this. And so this is the story of Mabel Jones, who has been kidnapped by a group of pirates for doing the deed. The deed, which is the worst. I mean, people are like, oh, the deed. The deed is picking your nose and eating it. Mabel Jones got caught doing that, so she is kidnapped by pirates. And the only way for her to get home is to help the pirates find all the pieces of an X, because X marks the spot, and then get the hidden treasure. And the pirates sail on the ferocious maggot ship, and they're awesome. The captain, I'm trying to remember the captain's name. The captain is, oh, what's his name? Oh yes, Captain Idris Ebenezer Split, and he is a, oh, let me see if I can, there's a good picture of him. Oh, here it is. Here is Captain Idris Ebenezer Split. Yes, he's a wolf dog thing. They're all animals. And yeah, so I am really, really enjoying reading this book. It is a trilogy. We have all 3 books, and so Delaney and I will probably read all 3 of them together. It's super fun. I love books like that. And then let's see some adult books that I am enjoying. I am slightly over halfway through Mr. Tender's Girl by Carver Wilson. This is a book, it's based, well, no, it's not based on, it's inspired by a true story. I don't know if you recall, a couple, maybe 2-3 years ago, some young girls who stabbed another girl because they thought the Slender Man wanted them to. The Slender Man, who is a fake character, a video game character. These girls were obviously troubled emotionally, mentally, and they felt that the Slender Man had wanted them to stab their friend, and so they did. This is kind of taking that premise and taking it a little bit further. The Slender Man is Mr. Tender, and he is a comic book, a graphic novel character that Alice Hill's dad created, and Alice at 14 ends up being stabbed by a pair of twins, because Mr. Tender in his books gets people to do devious things in exchange for something. Kind of along the lines of selling your soul to the devil. So the twins believed that Mr. Tender had told them to stab and kill Alice, and in exchange they would become famous. So this is actually set 14-15 years after that. So Alice is an adult, and she is still kind of dealing with the physical and emotional scars from that, and has recently kind of discovered that while she had tried to hide from these Mr. Tender fans and fanatics, she's not as safe as she thought she was. Like I said, I'm a little bit over halfway. I'm really, really enjoying this. I kind of get upset because I read before bed and I'm so tired sometimes and I just want to keep reading, but I can't keep my eyes open. And I really want to know what happens in this. I'm really enjoying it. And then I just picked this up from the library, but I'm very much looking forward to reading it. This is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Downing. And it is another thriller, just came out, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard some very, very good things. It's about a husband and wife who have been married for a while, 15 years, and their kind of marriage got kind of stagnant, and so in an effort to kind of reunite, they start murdering people together. So I'm very interested in it. Like I said, I've heard some very, very good things, so I'm hoping it's going to be very good. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this edited today, so hopefully I can get it uploaded tonight. It's Sunday, by the way, May 13th. It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Yeah, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and happy knitting. Bye, guys.